Hello everybody, welcome to the Chensor Dynasty here on twitch.tv/jchensor. I am James Chen, your host, and a Sigma Nuts cat butts to all of you out there, especially to Auric77, who just resubscribed here in the chat. Definitely, crackling just a little bit. That should fix it right there. It's not the mic, it's XSplit, does something weird or something's odd, but it should be fixed now. But thanks for everybody hanging out. Is it still crackling? Is it still crackling? Because you know what? I'm here crackling. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, audio is really kind of weird. Hardest part of streaming, you'd think it would be the video stuff. Honestly, the audio stuff is the hardest part of streaming because like that is an XSplit software problem, not a all the wires are plugged in weird problem. And if you didn't know that, then you're kind of screwed because you'll unplug and be like, why can't I fix the crackling? But it's something like that that I've learned over the course of the years. For some reason, if I mute and unmute XSplit, everything works fine. But hello everybody to the Chensor Dynasty. Exciting stuff happening, obviously, in the world of fighting games, especially for Street Fighter V. Yesterday, Capcom teased that there will be a big announcement the next day. And of course, most of us were sitting here like, right, we're gonna get Idom's costume. And that's gonna be it. That's it. Like, I didn't even want to think that it would be anything crazy or anything like that. But it turns out that it's actually pretty crazy. It was something that was actually a big surprise and something that caught me off guard to the point where when I woke up, I was like, I don't really care. And then I started seeing hints on what it was. I was like, oh, what? And so, what we've actually had announced to us was the crux of it is that they are doing one last season. They're doing one last season for Street Fighter V, and it's going to be called Season V. So they've done Season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now Season V. Now, we have no idea when, like, I'm assuming because it's Season V, that means it'll probably still come out during the course of this year. Maybe it was something that they had planned to announce during EVO or Combo Breaker or something to that effect. Obviously, quarantine and everything like that has been, has changed it. And so we are not able to get those announcements at these events. So maybe this was supposed to be for EVO local, but not going to happen this time. So this is actually kind of neat, though. They've announced officially that they are going to add a Season V. And not only are they going to add a Season V, I opened up the page and I must have closed it. Blog. CapcomUnity.com. They announced that there were going to be 5 more characters added to it. So I'll read you this from their page. Let me go ahead and capture their page at the same time so you guys can see the words yourselves. But I will read it in my beautiful, loving, amazing, soothing, charming James Chen voice here. So let's take a look at this over here. So, hey fighters. Today we're super excited to reveal some new information on upcoming Street Fighter V Champion Edition content. New characters, stages, costumes, and more are on the way. Read all about that and more in the update below, which includes details on what Street Fighter V players can look forward to. From the Street Fighter V development team. Hello to everyone from the Street Fighter V development team at Capcom Japan. First of all, we hope that you World Warriors out there are doing well and staying safe. We wish you good health and can't wait to see you all again soon. I made that sound super ominous. I skipped the word soon. I was like, oh, tack on soon. Soon. Champion Edition. To start, we are pleased that people are enjoying Champion Edition and would like to thank all of our players for their support. We wouldn't be here without you. As some of you have noticed, we released Color EX09 for free for all 40 characters to all players as a token of our appreciation. We appreciate the support. I hate these damn shadow colors. I hate them. Costume contest. Be a part of Street Fighter history and create your own costume design for Street Fighter V. Beginning now through July 24th, you can submit your costume design for any of the 40 characters in Champion Edition. 2 winners will be selected, and the winning designs will be made available to the game. Neat idea. I don't like it. I wish this was a cash prize with this so that the people who did design the costume could get paid for their work. But this is definitely a neat idea and a good opportunity for a lot of people to be able to, you know, get some cool ideas out there. There are definitely a lot of very, very creative ideas out there. However, again, this kind of is like taking advantage of people's work, and I'm not a fan of that. And, you know, they have some sample costumes here. This, by the way, sample costume sketches from the SF dev team. Some interesting costume designs here. However, this Poison one makes me think of like a weird Catra versus Poison crossover, and there's something about that that seems kind of appropriate, but, you know, I don't know, like it seems like it would fit, but also would be weird because Catra's young and Poison is obviously, you know, anyways, we won't get into that. Let's continue here going forward. To learn how to enter, please check the official webpage on our social channels for more updates. But this is the core crux right here. The future of SFVCE. We know our players are wondering what's next for Street Fighter V, so we have some exciting news to share. Due to the positive reception to Season 4 and Champion Edition, we are planning to do a final Season V, which will add V more characters to the roster. Of course, for those of you who don't know, V is also the Roman numeral for 5. Woo! Okay, so if you didn't know that and you're playing Street Fighter V and were confused, I have just answered a 5-year-old question for you right there. That's all for now. 3 new stages are also being planned. That's all for now, but we'll be back later this summer to share more details regarding the new content coming to Street Fighter V. For now, please continue enjoying everything included in Champion Edition. Stay safe, and thank you again for all the support. Bye for now, SFV Dev Team. Shout outs to these guys. This is Dan here, the newest community, the newest hire, one of the newer hires on the Capcom America team. He's become the new community manager, Dan Louie, who is always had a long time interest in fighting games, and so that's very cool. Shout outs to Dan. Thank you very much. And for a pretty human, very nice, like a human voice, the way that the post was written. I actually really liked the tone of that and everything like that. So in any case, we have 5 new characters coming to the game. Whoa! And, you know, I'm a little torn on this. One, it's cool, you know, always good to get new content and everything, but 40 characters is a lot in the game. Street Fighter 4 ended with 44 characters, I think it was. 44 or 45, and if Street Fighter V ends with 45 characters, that's a lot of freaking characters, and I'm almost a little, like, worried about that. However, with how good the character designs have been of the last few characters, I'm sure they'll do a good job balancing it. I don't think we'll end up in any sort of weird misbalanced things. Hopefully not. We don't know because glitches and because of unfound tech, etc. I mean, KOF is interesting too because you use 3 of them at a time. And not only that, but KOF, the system mechanics are usually a little bit more powerful regardless of the character that you use. The idea of covering the short hop space, the hyper hop space, having the ability to hyper hop, run, roll, all these things like that are universal mechanics. But again, you also use 3 of them at a time, so you're forced to learn more of them at once. Street Fighter V, you kind of learn once, you got to learn how to fight all of them, and not only that, but Street Fighter V is so much more frame data heavy, so much more memorization heavy than a lot of other fighting games. I've talked about this a lot on Monday, you know, about the heart versus the mind. Street Fighter V is definitely more of a mind game than a heart game, so as a result, 45 characters is a little bit exacerbated in that way, because now we have 5 more characters to memorize. The light, medium, heavy EX versions plus a block on a special move, and then when enhanced by V skill 2, how much does it change on that one? And then when V trigger is active, then what does it change to? And then if they use that with the EX1 with V skill 2 activate, how much does it change? You know, stuff like that. It's a little bit crazy. It's a little bit crazy. And you know, interestingly enough, Flashy Flash, there's not as much memorization as something like Tekken, but these days it's not getting far off. It's not getting as far off. And in Tekken, there's a lot of things that you can do. I mean, the game has always been that way, and so the game has purposely instilled into itself a lot of ways to circumvent the memorization. One, there are very few plus moves in Tekken, and most of the plus moves in Tekkens come in the form of running attacks or attacks that attack top down. If you see a move that attacks like this, it is almost always plus on block. If it comes down at you like this, plus on block. If I come down like this, plus on block. You'll actually notice that it's a pretty common thing in Tekken. For the most part, most things are minus. And because of the high-low and the low crush and the high crush mechanics in the game, there's a lot built into the game that you don't have to necessarily care about the frame data. If you call out that they're going to do something, you just throw out a crush move or a sidestep or something to that effect and defeat it. Street Fighter V, not quite that way. It's arguable, like it's different kinds of memorization. And in fact, most of the top Tekken players will tell you that they don't have most of the information memorized with everything of every character, but they can play kind of through that feel in that way. So it's actually kind of cool. But back to the Street Fighter V thing, 45 characters total, lot of characters. Yes, Buddha Bure. I have always wanted that, and I feel like Street Fighter V tried to do that. You could see with stuff like Ryu's sweep and Ryu's crouching heavy punch, when they get blocked, they transitioned into a different animation. I think that they were trying to do that ahead of time. I would also like it that block stun animation changes depending on whether the move is plus or minus. If you are plus on block, like if you are +2, you should just have the regular block animation. If you are minus on block, so in other words, if someone hits you with a move that's plus on block, you should reel a little bit like a little bit more like kind of on the block stun animation. That would actually be really cool. But as Fighting Feng Huang says down there right now, it became too much work probably after a while. And it is very hard because, you know, now when you change the frame data of a move, you've got to go in and change the block stun thing, and you got to set this, and you got to have all these different, because the thing about it is having a move just finish through its animation or having a move transition to another animation also requires, you know, changing the script of the animation from one direction to the other, and it's just like it was probably easier in the end and quicker for them just to make it so that, you know, the moves follow through and such. It was probably a lot of work, work that they just abandoned partway through. And like I said, it would be really cool if someone took the time to commit to that. Tekken is a little bit different because Tekken has a lot more strings in it, so I don't know how Tekken could necessarily do it, because if I do this move that's minus on block, but then I do da-da, and that's plus on block, so if they block the first one and they go into animation, and then they block the next one, then they change to another animation, or what if I don't cancel it? And, you know, there's a lot of weirdness going on in that kind of situation. I mean, Street Fighter V would do the same thing if I did Ryu's crouch fierce, you know, into fireball, or let's say a plus move like into a fireball, like standing strong into fireball. The first one would make them go kind of weird, and then the second block would all of a sudden have to snap them back into a regular block stun. It would just be kind of awkward animation wise, might not look good, and that might be one of the reasons why they've abandoned it. There's so many different ways that it could happen. Yeah, you could also add a lot of the visual cues in there, such as like Guilty Gear with the dust attacks in Exert all produce the red spark. I've thought about even doing things like that for a lot of the games. Exclamation marks in the anime, in the Arxis games, you know, if you're low blocking a high move or if you're high blocking a low move, you could definitely do a lot of extra things like that, and I think that that's really, really important. And Henry says that Pocket Rumble and Fantasy Strike do that, and yeah, that I think that's a good example of things that happen. Now, in games like Virtua Fighter, they've done that forever, where a counter hit spark is red and a regular hit spark is yellow, and so a lot of the top top players just subconsciously would see the red or the yellow and they'd know if they could go for a counter hit combo or not. That was always kind of a nice thing, and more games need to do little visual cues like that, because in the end, memorizing all that stuff like that shouldn't be that significant of a factor in the game. So they should add more things subtle as possible, because, you know, I've asked the Tekken players themselves, you know, like, hey, would you guys like it if there was a combo meter or this kind of indication or whatever, and they were like, nah, I kind of like the way it is right now. So it's kind of one of those things that's up for debate. If I was Harada and I made Tekken 8 and it was a reboot, I would definitely add in a bunch of that stuff to make it a little bit easier to get into, but I don't know how much that would draw the ire of veteran Tekken players. But the key is to do it in a way that's not obstructive, right? Like reactable lows. Should you have to memorize the beginning of the animation, or should there be a spark that just indicates that a reactable low is coming, for example? You know, like if Snake Edge is gonna come out, you'll see just kind of like a certain kind of like pshing, you know, before it hits you, so you're not so now no matter who you fight, you can react to the reactable lows even if you've never fought them before, because you're reacting to a universal thing. But is that detracting from what the game is supposed to be? You know, that's kind of weird. But in any case, Street Fighter V, 45 characters might be a bit too much, but again, kind of excited to see, you know, what they decide to do and who they choose and everything like that. So, which 5 characters are going to end up in the game? Which 5 characters are going to end up in the game? We have no idea. A lot of people are saying Viper's probably due for the game. Everyone keeps saying Makoto for some reason. I don't know where this love and passion for Makoto is coming from, or why it feels like it's just time for Makoto, because I don't think that makes sense at all. So what we're going to do here is we are going to logically look through this. I'm going to try to approach this from a scientific view and then apply all of my biases on top of that. And what we're going to do, just as an exercise for this, is we are going to make the assumption that there are no brand new characters. I'm going to pick 5 returning characters. In all realistic thought process, there probably will be at least 1 brand new character, maybe 2. Maybe we'll get Rashid's bodyguard. Maybe we'll get Guile's commander, which would actually be cool, because I remember when Champion Edition first came out and they let you play mirror matches, one of my ideas was, instead of making it a mirror match, make the other one like a different character, right? Like, so, for example, this was, like I said, this was my thought process during Champion Edition. It's like you would have Guile and then an African-American Guile, a black Guile instead, and he's just a different character who just happens to have the same moveset. They didn't go that way. Obviously, sprites, very hard, lots of work in that kind of situation like that, but it'd be funny if they actually put his commander in there, and then 20 years later my wish was kind of fulfilled. That would actually be kind of funny. But yeah, new characters obviously would be cool, but let's talk about the top 5 characters I would personally like to see returned, okay? And of course, like I said, this is going to be a biased opinion, but I'm going to look through this from a pseudoscientific method here, because what I have done in the past, like, I'll show you stuff. I've been showing people a lot of things that I did. The last stream that I did, I showed people a lot of Alpha 3 FAQs and CVS 2 FAQs and stuff like that. One of the things that I did when I was doing the CVS 2 FAQ is that I made these documents that I called charts. Capital C-H-A-R, lowercase t, charts. And I did this for every franchise, for all these SNK and for all these Street Fighter franchises. And what these charts were literally a listing of the games that every character has shown up in the past. So I basically called it a chart, a character chart. Get it? A character chart. Yes, exactly, King Vasuki. That's basically what I had. So I had this here, for example. I had this was during CVS 2, so there was no 4 or 5 at this time. So those characters have not been added to this list. But if you actually see this, and then game-based, here's all the characters. So from Street Fighter 2, so I even listed this in 2 different ways. And here's the characters that have all shown up between all the different games and everything like that. So that is my character charts right there. So I used that data, and I created some new data over here. And what I actually did here was I created a new document here. Nothing that fancy. I just whipped this up real quick. So we'll take a look at this notepad over here. And what we're going to take a look at over here is a list of the characters in Street Fighter history. Here are the characters of Street Fighter history who have appeared in a mainline Street Fighter game at one point in time or another, starting with the Street Fighter 2 cast, as we see here, the Street Fighter 2 characters that lead into Street Fighter Alpha, etc., etc. However, this is not the beginning of our tale. This is not the beginning of our tale here. And in fact, this is not even particularly accurate. Let us do this. Here is the beginning of our tale here in Street Fighter 1. So Thiago Faula, there you go. There's your answer right there. Here's the Street Fighter 1 characters right now. And the idea that I have here is that I've listed whether or not they've shown up in Street Fighter 4 or Street Fighter 5 by the first 2 columns over there. So as you can see, Ryu and Ken are in 4 and 5. Retsu, Geki, Joe, Mike, and Lee have not been in any game since then. Gen has been in 4. Birdie's been in 5. Eagle has been in nothing. Adon has been in 4, and Sagat has been in 4 and 5. So this is kind of the idea over here. Now, some people are going to argue Mike is Balrog now, right? Isn't Mike Balrog? No, actually, canonically, they're 2 different characters. In fact, they even played a joke about it in Street Fighter V during one of Balrog's endings, I believe it is. Like, people like go and talk to Mike, and he's like, "That's not me," or something like that. So, Joe, for those of you who are unaware, this is another one of those little tidbits there, was supposed to come back in Alpha 3, and they put him in Alpha 3. He was supposed to be a prisoner and broke out of jail with handcuffs. Then they changed it to Cody because they're like, nobody's going to know who the hell Joe is, and people would be more excited for Cody. That's why Cody has that weird backstory. It ends up all weird, and why, you know, the background looks like Street Fighter 1 with the wall being punched through and all that stuff like that, and why Cody still has that even in Street Fighter 4 for some reason. So that whole entire thing was Joe was supposed to be in Alpha 3. They changed him to Cody. But Joe, for the most part, has never actually shown up in a new fighting game. So if we look at this list here, we're going to go to Street Fighter 2, and you can see every one of these characters has been in 4 and 5. And then, of course, Cammy, of course, is the only character that keeps showing up in every game. But Fei Long, DJ, and T-Hawk are not in Street Fighter 5. Akuma eventually showed up over here, and then here's an Alpha. They've brought back all these characters, but look at this. Saddam has never come back. Saddam has never returned. Interesting. But all these characters here, yes, I'm counting Kage as Evil Ryu. I'm counting them as the same character here. Why do I have Akuma over here twice? I don't need Akuma twice. Akuma's up here. Actually, I have them listed over there. So here we go. Sakura, Rolento, Evil Ryu, they've all come back in some form. Cody, Karamika, no Junie, and Julie. They have never come back officially. You can't fight Junie in the game, if I'm not mistaken. You can't fight Junie because canonically she's already broken out of that funk from Street Fighter 4. She was rescued, and Julie is still under control. But was Julie in there, or was Julie not in there? I know, Crack Prawn, it's too late. It's Junie and Julie. It's like I said, like, it's every time I try to say yin and yang, I'm always trying to say yin and yang, but no one's gonna pay the fuck attention to me. So Junie and Julie it is. So both of them are being taken care of. I can't remember. But they're there. And then, of course, Maki and Ingrid, more like Engross, showed up in the in the PSP version and the Game Boy Advanced versions of Alpha 3. So they're technically added to the Street Fighter universe. And you can guess who I'm not going to want added to the game. You can have a pretty strong guess who I don't want added to Street Fighter 5. So screw that character. Then in Street Fighter 3, we've had Alex, who was back in 5. Dudley, Elena, and Ibuki have been in 4. In fact, Ibuki is the only Street Fighter 5 character that has had the blessing of being in both 4 and 5, which is pretty crazy. But we see here Necro, Oro, and Sean have not shown up in either game in 4 or 5. Neither have 12, and neither have Remy. So there's a hole here, and yes, I've counted Q as G. Okay, I know that there's no official canon of this yet. There's a lot of heavy implications that they're the same character or something to that nature, or they created robots based off of him. Whatever the case is, he even has a Q costume and all this stuff, and he has enough of the same moves that I'm going to count that as sort of returned a little bit. In fact, I originally had it written as 5, you know, but clearly, I mean, they have all a bunch of the same moves, the same throw. V-Skill 2, he has the same taunt that powers him up and takes less damage. I mean, it's the same taunt mechanic as Q had and everything. So I don't care what people say. I'm counting them as the same thing. Then in Street Fighter 4, obviously all these characters were in Street Fighter 4, but only Seth, Jury, and Poison have returned into the Street Fighter 5 canon. And of course, all these characters are Street Fighter 5 characters, so they're the ones that are here. So, the question is, who do I want to add in? Now, obviously, you know, everybody from Street Fighter 2 has made a return. Everyone in Alpha has made a return except for essentially Saddam, Junie, and Julie. Now, Junie and Julie were hidden characters in Alpha 3 and weren't actually even selectable until the home versions and were never kind of official characters. Maki and Ingrid were just kind of like extra characters in, Maki and Engross were extra characters in another home version. So, you know, it is kind of fair to go off of the arcade edition, but so technically, automatically, Saddam, Julie, and Junie. And then same here, Necro, Oro, Sean, 12, and Remy. I feel like already the prime candidates they were selectable in the arcade, but they were hidden characters, and they clearly were not really done because Julie just kind of sucks. Like really badly. Adidas Wilson asks do I still do first attacks. I need to get myself motivated to get back to doing it. As I've explained on my stream before, they take 90% of my effort to prepare for, and they make up about like 5 to 10% of my views on YouTube. So they are hard for me to justify doing because nobody watches them, interestingly enough. So I have kind of had trouble getting myself motivated to do more first attacks, but I want to commit to it, so you can expect more in the future for sure, because I have a lot more to do as well. I have a lot more to go through with that. So again, I feel like the leaning right now, and Saddam is even in the background of one of the stages over here. So Saddam is here, Julie and Junie, Necro, Oro, Sean, 12, and Remy are likely candidates. Now, from Street Fighter 4, of course, Abel, you know, who has a full model in-game already. C. Viper is very popular. Rufus and Fuerte haven't been back. Gokin, I don't even know. Hakan. Okay, look. Let's just start doing this now, okay? Because let us do the logical choices here. I really don't think Rufus and Fuerte are coming back, okay? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to recreate this list here. And I'm going to delete everybody who is in Street Fighter 5 already. So let's do this. So 5 is... So these characters are gone like this. And then let's do this in a let's do this in a very clear, careful way here. You guys are all in 5. You're in 5. You're in 5. You are in 5. You are in 5. Oops. You are in 5. And all of you guys are in 5, including Sagat is in 5. So this is going to leave us with the list of characters that are available to put in. Like I said, if we just concentrate on no brand new characters, okay? If we just concentrate on not putting in brand new characters. I probably should have used Excel. Whatever, it's okay. Let's start eliminating some characters, okay? There's no way Fuerte's coming back. There's no way Rufus is coming back. I'm just saying that. I don't think Gouken is coming back. I don't think Hakan is coming back. Really don't think any of those characters are coming back. So I'm going to kill them off right now. Right here. Right now. They're gone. Let's see here. Okay, so that's the way I'm going to start with that one for now. I really sincerely doubt DJ or T-Hawk will come back. In fact, I think we can eliminate them. I just have this weird feeling that Japan isn't actually super fond of those characters or something. I don't know. Like, those characters just always seem like they're kind of on the lower end of importance for Capcom at this point in time. Let's start getting into my picks of I don't want them back. This is where the bias starts to kick in. Well, actually, no. Let's kick out some of the characters who were in Street Fighter 4 that I really doubt are coming back, right? Like Adon. Probably not coming back, right? Guy, we already have Zeku in the game. We have Lucia in the game. Probably no Guy. Probably not Dan. Because Dan's already, he's already Kage in a way. He's merged with Evil Ryu already. So he's kind of in the game partially already. So let's eliminate Dan from the equation over here. Rolento, I mean, they already put in Abigail now. So I really don't think, and, you know, if spoilers, Saddam is one of my picks. So if they put in Saddam, Rolento doesn't need to be in there. I think everybody does not want to see Elena. I don't think anybody wants to see Elena. I doubt Hugo will make it back in as well because there's just too many grapplers already. I don't see why they would waste a spot on Oni. I'm going to kill Oni right now. I'm going to kill Oni right now. So this is kind of more of a list here that I think is kind of more realistic for what people say. So a lot of people are sitting out here saying that they actually want Elena, huh? Well, I mean, Lucia's not like Guy, but they're both run characters and, you know, they're Final Fight characters and stuff like that. So, Gen is he dead? Is he supposed to be dead? He's probably dead. He's probably dead. In any case, I don't think Gen is coming back because Gen is a stance character and they already have Zeku, and so I feel like it would kind of waste a cool mechanic. So, yeah, that's true too. No one actually dies in this series. So, all right, we have narrowed the list down here to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 characters. Wow, that's actually a pretty nice number here. 25 characters that could possibly return here. Now, time to start pissing people off. Because I'm going to cut out, because like I said, this is my picks of who I want to see come back. This is the James picks. This is not some sort of democratic process here, okay? I live in America. We don't have true democratic processes in this country here. So I'm going to start eliminating some of the characters that I do not want in this. Just like Ingross. Goodbye, Ingross. Number 1 dead, gone, bye. Forget it. Screw Ingross. Worst Street Fighter character design ever. What is she, an alien? Like, seriously, she had a move in Capcom Fighting Jam where when she countered you, she made you float into the air like a glitch. You didn't even get animated. Your character just went pop and flew out of the screen and fell back. What a dumb ass character, dude. What a stupid character. For my own purposes, screw 12 and Necro. Because seriously, screw those characters. By the way, did I mention screw those characters? Again, two of the worst designs in Street Fighter history. Ooh, okay, I've got an alert over here. Let me put this up here. Yeah, screw those characters, dude. Those characters suck, man. I hate those characters. What garbage ass character designs, dude? Seriously. I am also going to remove Remy because screw Remy as well. I just don't give a crap about Remy. Who cares about Remy? Absolutely. Now, this is where we're starting to get into a little bit of interesting situation here. So, I know everybody wants Oro in the game. I know everybody wants Oro in the game. I couldn't give a crap about Oro. In fact, I think Oro's kind of dumb, and after Street Fighter 4, I think he was supposed to be dead as well. But screw Oro. I don't even give a crap about Oro. However, if they put Oro into this game, I will accept it on one condition. I will accept Oro on one condition, just to have one thing in the game that would be the most amazing thing ever. And if they did this, I will accept Oro being in the game. I will definitely take him out of this list because screw Oro. But if they put him in, there's only one request that I have. You know how after moves are done, people have flare animations that you can, skip. They're just there for flair, like Cody flipping his knife. If you jump over Oro, he needs to put one arm in his shirt and pull the other arm out and switch sides. That needs to be a flare animation for Oro. If he is in the game and they do not do that, I will riot. I will absolutely riot if they do not do that. If Oro is in the game and you waste the opportunity to have him fight like this and you jump over him and he goes like this, and if he does not do that, I will be super mad. I will be very, very mad. But for now, Oro is gone. Oro is gone. I don't have Oro in here anymore. I don't know why everybody's so excited for Makoto. I don't want another grappler in the game. We've got a lot of grapplers in this game already, and if one of the characters I kind of already want to put into the game is a grappler, spoilers, Sodom, because I'm just not. I mean, has she been a waifu character? Like Rose, I can see people being like, oh, she's my waifu. Like, I've never pictured Makoto as like the waifu. It's just weird. Sure, okay, well, goodbye to Makoto. And you know what? While I'm on top of that, goodbye to Yin and Yang, because the only way that I would accept Yin and Yang into the game will be replaced by another character that I actually want to put in the game. So screw Yin and Yang. Goodbye, Yin and Yang. I don't want Yin to be able to have a plus on block EX lunge punch because he has trouble getting in. Screw that. Goodbye, Yin and Yang. Okay, so they're gone. Now, here's where the bias kind of starts ending and we get into a little bit of more logic stuff here. Abel already has a model. Decabre already has a model. So there's a very good chance that these two characters do make it. And C. Viper is another waifu popular character that I feel like, like Jury would be a good pick to get back in the game and to be a representative of Street Fighter 4. Because if we look at Street Fighter 4 up here, we only had Seth and Poison and Jury, which is a really weird smattering of characters. So I feel like Viper would be a good choice. But like I said, Abel's already in the game, in the stories. He's got a model and everything like that. And not only that, but his story is still significant to the plot, in my opinion, because we're still not sure exactly, like we haven't resolved the Sin Street Fighter 4 plot and jumped over to the Illuminati plot line. So I feel like Abel and Viper have a really good chance of making it in the game to continue that storyline. Now, Abel is another grappler. He's just like everybody else. So I don't want Abel in the game. So no more Abel. And I like grapplers, but there's a lot of grapplers in this game already. So let's just get rid of Abel at this point. All right. Who else do I want to eliminate here? I don't care about Rose. I don't want Rose in the game. I don't want Rose in the game at all. I just don't think that there's any need for her. At this point, I can start eliminating people who've already been in Street Fighter 4. While I would like to see another member of the new challengers show up, maybe not necessarily Fei Long. Fei Long might not be the character that I want in here. I know a lot of people like Fei Long, but we already have massive Street Fighter 2 representation. I will probably take out Fei Long. I would probably, because like I said, I can only have 5 characters, and I kind of already know which 5 characters I want. So you guys are just gonna have to deal with the suspense of who I'm actually going to end up picking. Like I said, Joe was supposed to be in the game already as Cody, and then he got co-opted into Cody. Joe is not interesting. Goodbye, Joe. We don't need Joe over here at all. And for that matter, we do have Balrog in the game already. If we were going to put in a boxer again, I don't want Mike. I would rather have Dudley anyway. So I would definitely want to put him. Retsu is supposed to be garbage. So I will take Retsu out of here. Retsu's gone. He's not, I mean, he's always been like the guy you beat up on. He's the first guy you fight in Street Fighter 1 every time. So forget Retsu. Now, what's interesting is I've always wanted Geki back. I've always wanted Geki back because I thought it would be really interesting to have a ninja who like throws ninja stars and like has ninja weapons and has cool. Well, guess what? Ibuki's in the game. Sorry, Geki. You've been co-opted already. You don't have exactly what I want. Like, someone else is already in the game that has this stuff now. So, goodbye. Bye, Geki. Sorry, you're gone at this point in time. Maki. One of my favorite characters from CVS2. I played Maki a lot. Lucia's in the game already. Like I said, Zeku's already in the game. I don't think there's any reason for Maki to make it in, despite the fact that I love Maki so much. But I mean, she was part of my my Kami army, which I called my Kami army because I played these characters here. I played Kami, Mika, and Maki, which was really weird. That it just kind of ended up being that way. So, goodbye to Maki. I'm taking out Maki. So, what are we down to now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've only got 4 more characters to eliminate. Or do I? Or do I only have 4 characters to eliminate? Let's just do this right now. I don't want Tecabre. I do not want Tecabre in the game, and for reasons in which I will explain in just a second. I am going to eliminate Tecabre because, yeah, like I said, I will explain that in just a little bit. Scroll this up a little bit here. Let's see, who do we have left here? Lee Eagle, Saddam, Junie, Julie, Dudley, Sean, and Viper. I feel like Balrog is really interesting in this game. I kind of like Balrog, and he does a lot of really cool things. I don't think we need Dudley in this game. And he was in Street Fighter 4. So he's already had a return. So you can kind of see where this list is going here. That most of the characters that I'm saving and favoring over here are characters who have not shown up in either game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 characters left. So I have to eliminate 2 more characters. This is where things start to get a little difficult for me. And so what I am going to do right now is I am not going to eliminate any more characters. I'm going to have an honorable mention in here. So in other words, if I had to bring back 5 characters in the game, these are the 6 characters that I would bring. These were the 6 characters that I would want to have in as much as possible. And I will explain to you why I think these characters would be really, really awesome. But the first question is, 6 characters? What are you talking about? There's 7 characters. This is what I'd want, and this is why I would eliminate Takapre, because I would put in Julie and Junie as a tag team kind of character. So that kind of like a stance character, but they would kind of like be assists and switch to each other. And right, and Julie's already in the game. And so like I said earlier, there was only one way I would accept putting Yin and Yang in the game. But I'm not going to put Yun and Yang in the game because I'd rather have the idea for Junie and Julie. Because, in fact, in Alpha 3, they had moves available to the characters that were only usable when you played Dramatic Battle. Literally, Junie and Julie had moves that you could play only when both of you were using those characters against the computer. They had a Raging Demon move, and they had a Tumble Super move. And now we can actually find a way to incorporate that, make a Julie and Junie clone kind of thing. Not only would it be easy for them on the model aspect, I mean, they've already got like half of the list moves down, and Julie's already in the game and everything like that. But this would actually be super sick if you had to switch between them. And, you know, Junie was a charge character and Julie was not a charge character. And you kind of played this weird MVC2 assisty kind of, I don't know. They could do some really interesting thing. And then when you activate V-Trigger, both of them jump on the screen and it'll be like MVC1. And you can control both of them and then gain access to those supers. Because literally, they had a Raging Demon super where, actually, I may even still have this on video for you guys. For those of you who have actually never seen these supers before, let me see if I can actually find a clip of this. Yeah, Julie is no longer a doll, and Julie is no longer. But that might be kind of interesting if Julie is in T-Hawk's care or whatever like that. That they both come back as not dolls, but they actually fight. Like, I don't know. There would just be something super sick about that, in my opinion. Let's take a look and see if I can find this video here. Do I have my stuff here? Nope, it'll be on my backup drive over here. So literally, if you were playing Reverse Dramatic Battle and you had both of the characters, they had one move, which was 2 quarter circle forwards plus some buttons, and would automatically teleport one of the characters to the other character, and they would do this rolling super, and they would just basically hit you and do absolutely no damage. Then there was also a Raging Demon super that you inputted as the Raging Demon, and if it actually hit them, they would go into this really kind of cool sequence. So let me see if I can find this over here. Alpha 3 Xism. Did I have the Xism Aism? That's what it is. God, these clips are going to be terrible, by the way. These clips are going to be really, really... Did I put it in this one over here? Because keep in mind, I made these combo videos back... Jesus Christ. Oh my God. I made these combo videos back in like 1999 and 2000, okay? When we were all still on modems and everything like that. So, like literally, like I'm just gonna do this for fun over here. I'm just gonna do this for fun here. This is my desktop with Discord in the background. This is the size of my combo video, as you can see here in the... Like, that's the size, that's the resolution of the combo video here right now. this is the resolution of my combo video right here. Oh boy, that's hilarious. Okay, let's go ahead and kill this thing. Let's go ahead and kill this. Let's see here. Remove that. And what I'm gonna do is go over here to the video, zoom it in to double the size over here. Can I just squeeze it in? Oh yeah, I could probably just reuse this one, so that's actually probably more convenient actually. Let's do this, let's do this, let's go back to over here. Is this, where is it? Where is my capture window? This one, here it is. So I will just do this. So let's see. God, this is my first combo video series, dude. Oh, editing! That was my first fancy editing that I had ever done. By the way, most of these combos can be flipped. I was just doing exhibition combos, so this video is called exhibition combos. A lot of these could be escaped. Ooh, CPS1 chains. Yeah, see, like that, you could flip that in like 2 spots. You could flip that one in 2 spots. That one, same thing, but it was just fun. Okay, you can't flip that one. Oh, here we go. Okay, so this is it right here. So this is me and my friend playing reverse dramatic battle. Pow! No matter what, you would teleport to the opposite sides. And you would actually hit him, and then they would do this custom win pose. So one of you had to actually input the Raging Demon command, and if it hit, it caused the other doll to instantly teleport to the other side of the opponent, and you did an automatic sandwich combo like that, which is really cool. Yeah, me and my friend did it to 99 for fun as a joke. And so here we go. Pow! I mean, tell me that this wouldn't be cool to have in Street Fighter V, right? Tell me that wouldn't be cool to have in Street Fighter V, to have the characters be able to do something like that. I think that would be super sick. So for me, right now, Julie and Junie are my #1 picks for getting into Street Fighter V. Having them be a team-up, tag team kind of character, I think would be really sick. Now, obviously, I've already spoiled this, so I'm just going to add him in here. Saddam, the only alpha character that has not shown back up into Street Fighter 4 or 5. So again, if I scroll up here and we look at the entire alpha list here, besides Julie and Junie, who I've put in the game now, and Saddam, of all characters, everybody else has made it back into 4 or 5. At least one of the games. Saddam is the only one that's missing. Now, if they do put Saddam in here, I really do hope that they make him more like Alpha 1 Saddam, in which he's a grappler, but not really a grappler. He's more of this weird hopping kind of grappler and have, you know, the ability to scare you and have a long startup command grab into a grab that has a little more range because he jumps forward and stuff. I think it would just be really kind of neat to have him be that way, but then to make it so that he was more based on... to make it so that he was more based off of the little carpet burning thing and more shoulder charges, to make him more Final Fight-like. And not only that, but if you pick V-Trigger 1 or V-Trigger 2, it would be like Xism versus Aism. Like V-Trigger 1, he would actually fight with the jites, and if you fought with V-Trigger 2, he would fight with the katanas instead. And so, I don't know, you could do a lot of cool things for Saddam. So that's kind of why I kind of want him in the game, because I can see a lot of really cool ideas out of that character. That'd be interesting if his theme changed. So I have a few other characters listed here. Lee is an interesting one. If you guys don't know who Lee is, let me see if I can find Lee here. Lee is a pretty goofy looking character here. Is he on the screen? Do I have him on here? I'm missing him here. Let's do this. There's Lee. There's Lee down here. This really dorky Asian guy. He's Yin and Yang's uncle. Okay, Lee is Yin and Yang's uncle. So again, a reason why we don't have to have Yin and Yang. It would be kind of cool to put him in here. But what's interesting about this is that if you actually look at the storyline in this wiki article about Lee here, what do we have here written here? Story. Twin brothers, not known as much about Lee's past, but he possibly knows Chun-Li, as she mentioned him in Yang's Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition ending. He is now semi-retired, runs a real estate agency while training himself in the art of Drunken Fist. Drunken Fist. This is why I would want Lee back in the game. For this reason, and this reason only, is that I want a Drunken Fist fighter in Street Fighter. I think that would be so sick to put a Drunken Fist fighter in here. Like, get a Jackie Chan character in here, finally. Because Street Fighter's never had a Drunken Fist character, and it's perfect, right? What would his V-skill be? His V-skill would be just like all the other characters like Chen and, Chen from KOF, in that you would V-skill to make him drink and get more drunker, and then he would, like, his frame data would become better, his hitboxes would become better, and the more drunk he gets, but every time you knock him down, he sobers up or something like that. You could do some sick-ass things, and with how, good they could possibly animate him, it would be awesome to see. Like, could you imagine Lee being a character who is like Yin and Yang moves, but he's Drunken Fist styled with it? Like, what if he had no dive kick until you drank a couple of times and then he got Yin and Yang's dive kick? What if he had a dive kick, but if you drank too much, if he dive kick, he would actually just not hit anybody and fall flat on his back or something like that because you got him too drunk? It would just be really interesting that you could do a lot of cool things. And hola to Soy El Kai. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Thank you, Burstark. Sigma Nuts, Cat Butts to Burstark. But I think that would be really sick to have Lee in here as a drunken boxer. That would just be really kind of sick. I think that would be really, really cool. Sean is an interesting one. Doesn't make story-wise. Doesn't make sense story-wise. Hey, Sigma Nuts, Cat Butts to AJP Brooks as well. Both of them for some resubscribed. Well, actually, Burstark is a brand new subscription, so that shouldn't have been a... No, that is a resubscription. Okay, so that's not counting to the subscription goal because those are resubscriptions. Yeah, Sean is too young. This is the biggest problem with Sean. This is definitely the biggest problem with Sean, is that he is too young to be in the game, so he probably wouldn't fight very well, and he would have to be really bad because he sucked even after Ryu trained him. Sean is probably the most honorable mention for me because of all of these little things. The only reason why I've included Sean is because I think you could do some really interesting, sick things. You're right, Ken training him. I think that you could do some really kind of interesting, cool things with Sean. Like, if instead he would not have any Shoto moves, and it would be really funny to see all of his old moves, like the non-Shoto moves that he has from Street Fighter 3 in there, but instead, and this is a suggestion that somebody made back in when Street Fighter 5 first showed up at, hey, shout outs to Super Famicom. Oh, actually, Sigma Nuts, Cat Butts, the Tap 2 GG for the gift tiers, the gift sub to Super Famicom. That should count as one of the counts if this thing works properly. Hello? Okay, I'll take a look at it in a little bit and see why it doesn't work. But it would be sick if Sean came in and he didn't fight with any Shotokan style, and he had all of his old moves from Street Fighter 3, but his whole thing was basketball. like if all of his moves were basketball moves, like he moved, like maybe his V trigger is he gets a basketball and all of a sudden he's got sick crossovers and he's got like really cool moves and like he actually just hurls basketballs at you constantly as like fireballs and stuff like that. Like instead of throwing a Hadou burst, for example, he actually just has like chest pass, where he just like throws the basketball and that's how he blended it together into the Hadou burst. You know, I think that would actually be kind of cool. Yeah, like Lucky Glauber, exactly. Like put Lucky Glauber into the kind of like that. And I think that would actually be kind of sick to make him do that. And again, like I said, this was suggested as an idea. Someone brought it up to me a long time ago, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, and I was like, that's a sick idea. And have Sean, like, you could kind of see where he was before he became a Shotokan. And you know, I just keep having like these little storylines in my head, like, you know, maybe at some point Laura just becomes injured or dies or something like that, and Sean is really sad, and you know, he sees Ken and he's like, no, or like she gets injured and so he's like, I have to protect my sister from now on, and then he runs up to Ken, he's like, teach me how to become one of the best fighters in the world so I can protect my sister, and that would be his ending or something like that. You know, it would be an interesting way to take the story. Dude, I've hated Laura's story since the beginning. Like, I think Laura would have had a much cooler story if she was, you know, a person who liked to go clubbing and all this stuff in Brazil, and eventually, like, someone tried to attack her, you know, someone got too drunk, tried to attack her, and then she realized because she's so goddamn hot that she's gonna have to learn self-defense, and then she kind of ends up taking it too far and then just becomes like one of the most badass fighters, you know, in Brazil or something like that. Like, that actually would have made me enjoy Laura as a character instead of, boom, I'll show you how to start a fight and finish it quickly. And then, you know, in Street Fighter V story, she runs along, hey guys! I mean, come on. What a useless, wasted character space, man. Even to the point where the voice actress, I think, even once apologized, like, look, I only said the lines they made me say. You know? I don't... Man, and you could do something so much more compelling with the Laura Sean storyline instead of Laura running up going, hey guys, hey, don't forget, hey, Laura. And I was just like, oh God, please. And like in season 1, she actually seemed like a character that I would have really wanted to use. In fact, she was probably one of the characters that I would have really liked to play. If I just didn't hate her character so goddamn much, I probably would have ended up playing Laura instead of sticking with Cammy for so long. I probably would have seconded Laura, but I just hated her character so much that I couldn't bring myself to play her. Because I just never wanted to hear, boom, this is how we... And I would have just like been like, nope, done, pause, quit. That's it. I would have been out of there. So, because I can't stand that character. But because of storyline, because Sean is too young, he's probably the honorable mention. I want Eagle back because, god damn it, I am biased. I want Eagle back because I've thought Eagle was cool since Street Fighter 1. And in CVS 2, when he showed up, I was so happy. Like, now we could do some sick-ass things with Eagle, I think. I think we could really, really... Dude, in Japanese, she goes, dang, which is just as annoying and stupid, so it's not going to fix it going to either one of these. I would actually have to mod her voice into something else, so I would actually just have to mute her or something, because there's like no form of Laura that's actually, like, I could use her and feel comfortable doing it. But Eagle, I think Eagle would just be awesome. I think Eagle would be super cool to have in the game. I would love to see how he's going in there. For those of you who aren't really aware of this, but in CVS 2, and I'm not sure when in the lore they decided to do this, but Eagle, back in CVS 2 days, was about as openly gay as possible, right? I mean, for back then, it wasn't like, you would just hey, look, this character's gay and blah, blah, blah. You know, it was different times back then. But he's about as openly gay as possible. And so what you could do now is make a version of Eagle here in Street Fighter V where he is just, you know, open. It's out there. It's part of the story. It's part of his character. I think it would be really good, cool LGBTQ plus representation for the character. Not only that, but he's also buff and really, really strong as well. So I think that would be super cool. I think that would be super cool to not only bring back one of the coolest characters and just have this really neat character who fights with the sticks, and you could really do some awesome animations with him now and have some real like cool like stick fighting animations and everything like that. But you would also, from a lore perspective, have a character out there who could represent the LGBTQ community, LGBTQ plus community. And you know, I don't like. So I think Zangief is supposed to be gay. I don't know if Vega is or not. Not 100% sure. But again, so like that's the problem, is there's all this ambiguity out there, and so it would be nice to throw Eagle in and just be like, look, here he is. This is the gay character. This is a character who is gay, and you know, not have that ambiguity. I think that would actually be very, very cool. Yeah, I don't think Vega is gay, actually. I don't think he is. But like I said, it would just be nice to have that in there at some point in time. To have Eagle kind of be that character. And so I think this would be a good opportunity to bring back more Street Fighter 1 representation with Lee, and also make a badass character and have a non-ambiguous, you know, a just, you know, here he is, he's out, gay character in the Street Fighter in Street Fighter 5 canon. I think that would actually be really, really cool. I mean, the thing that made everybody wonder about Zangief in the first place was the ending of Super Turbo. In Super Turbo, every time you won, they added a new artwork picture for everybody, which had some really cool pictures, including the, you know, before they messed up Birdie, character of Birdie, but Zangief is flexing at a mirror, and pinned up on the mirror is a picture of Vega. So that's kind of when people started getting the idea of that. Not only that, but in Japan, the stereotype in Japan is opposite of the stereotype in a lot of the US, is that the muscle-bound, masculine, bodybuilding, gym-obsessed guys are usually the gay stereotypes in Japan. So that's kind of why Zangief kind of fits that. He was always that way. He was always that muscle, you know, muscle and like super bodybuilder kind of thing. And in Japan, that's the stereotype for being gay. And so there was always that kind of, as you know, once when I first saw that Vega picture thing, and I was like, what? This doesn't make any, but again, like I said, that was like 90 what? And I was an idiot. I was young back then. Now, in my older, more mature state, most of the things make a lot more sense. Makes a lot more sense. So I wouldn't doubt that he is. But like I said, they've never quite said it out loud. And so to have a character that is just, and you know, you don't have to make that his main character trait. Right? If like the reason why people kind of guessed it in CVS2 is he had very, you know, like a suggestive win quotes and stuff like that. But if you put in a character who is, you know, who you just say, yes, he's gay, right? Like it's just out there. That's known, but you don't make that his primary personality, and he's not a joke, and he's actually there and he fights. He doesn't really talk about it, that, you know, everything is just normal, you know, like that would be, I think, super cool. And I know the way that I word things about this topic sound like can be interpreted as offensive sometimes, you know, because I'm just really bad at using the words in that kind of, in this kind of topic. I'm always trying to like make sure that I represent the LGBTQ plus community properly. Not very good at it. So if I've said anything wrong, please let me know in the contents of YouTube below, and that's how I get educated and get better about these kind of things. But at the same time, it would just be cool to have a character that, you know, who is, you know, homosexual and not be, that's the thing that they, you know, hey, look at this personality trait and let's make fun of it all the time. You know, I think that would be super cool. in my opinion. So, yeah, Ladiva is another character like that. I think is really cool in that way as well. And then lastly, I would put in C Viper because I feel like we do need more Street Fighter 4 representation. And just to bring someone back, it's either going to be Viper or Abel, right? It's going to be one of those two. It's going to be one of those two. And it's not going to be Fuerte. It's not going to be Rufus. It's not going to be Hakan, okay? Those three are not coming back. It's either going to be Viper or Abel. But again, because it's my bias list, I'd rather see Viper back because, like I said, Street Fighter V has a lot of grapplers already, a lot of half grapplers already. Abel would just be another half grappler added to a game of lots of half grapplers. And I'm already asking to put Saddam in the game. And again, I would like Saddam to change his game style a little bit more so he's more about shoulder rushes and running through you. Like, what if he was a character that just ran through you constantly, so he's just like switching sides all the time for no reason or whatever like that. And I don't know, he could be he could do a lot of interesting things that are a lot more than just being another, hey, look, I'm a big body SBD character. So I feel like they could do something different with him. So that's why I would prefer Viper over Abel. So this is my list. This is my list of 5 characters that I would probably put in there if I had the choice, if they were all returning characters. Realistically, we'll probably get 1 or 2 brand new characters, maybe even 3 brand new characters if they're brave, because you know, if they're announcing these are the last 5 characters, because they said this is the final season. So if they have the final season here and they don't bring back certain favorites, people will get kind of mad. Of course, my list here doesn't have a lot of the favorites. Everyone wants Oro for who the hell knows why. Oro, weird, giant, wrinkly, old man, lizard, one-armed booger, flicking, weird. I mean, that's probably why everyone wants him. But still, you notice they haven't put a season price list on it. Yes, Swagenheimer, is because there will be, it's just going to be a season pass, right? It's just going to be a season pass price. They're never going to sell a new disc or anything like that unless it's like Champion Edition. And Champion Edition, everything that comes in Champion Edition, you can gain through the in-game currency, regardlessly of how unlikely it is. It's still, everything is still obtainable without buying the new version. And they've made that promise since the beginning, and they've done a good job making sure that that's held true this entire time. Except Oro is in the story. Yeah, he is in the story. So was Abel. So was Sean. But, you know, I don't know. Like I said, I know a lot of people want the Third Strike characters. I also selfishly have a reason why I wouldn't bring back any of these like, you notice my list has no Third Strike characters in here. Right? I'm not bringing back any of the Third Strike characters. Now, obviously, selfishly, I think Remy, Necro 12, and Oro are all 4 stupid characters, and I hate them, and I don't like them at all. And if they never came back, I wouldn't really actually be sad, or I wouldn't feel like I'd miss anything. But on top of that, the reason why I wouldn't bring them back is because then I would guarantee bring them back in Street Fighter 6, because I've already determined to myself that if I made a Street Fighter 6 character, a Street Fighter 6 game, it would be a spiritual sequel to Third Strike. I would bring back parries, and shout outs to Hirokun, Sigma Nuts, Cat Butts to Hirokun. And don't get me wrong, I don't think Third Strike is bad necessarily, because I love Dudley and Makoto. I've always loved their character designs. I just hate 12, Necro, Remy, and Oro. Like those characters they mean nothing to me. Like they have no existence. Like they're just like, what the hell are they supposed to be? Even a character like Fang doesn't bother me as much because he looks like one of those villains you'd see in a bad guy Chinese martial arts film, you know? Like you can just see him showing up in one of those movies. And so, you know, but Necro, like what the heck is Necro 12? He's the fucking T1000. Who the hell? Why am I fighting the T-1000? This is stupid. Like Ingrid, why am I fighting an alien? Why do we even want to deal with this garbage, right? Like, forget that. So I don't have any of the Street Fighter 3 characters here because, again, selfishly, if I made a Street Fighter 6, it would be a parry-based game. It would be a spiritual sequel of Street Fighter 3, and I would put all of those characters in that game. In the same way that this game kind of prioritized a lot of Street Fighter 2 characters and eventually brought them all back, I would make sure that Street Fighter 6 prioritized the Street Fighter 3 characters and brought them all back into a new parry-based fighting game. And again, the parries would be more like Gil and more like Gil's parry. I would even make them one frame. I would allow you to do wake-up parries and stuff like that, jumping parries, but I'd want them all to have recovery animations, B-button combinations, so you can't option select it with movements, and then make it so that it's easy to punish them if the person misses with the parry, for example. You could bait parries out a little bit, but I think it would be super cool to make the sixth game, so you go 1, 2, 3, parry game, different, very, very different fighting game, 4, 5, 6, parry game, very, very different parry game. And if you just continued that trend, if we ever get to Street Fighter 9, I think that would be really, really cool. So there you go. Those are the 5 characters that I'd want in here. And someone said, I see 6 characters, James. That's because my idea for Julie and Junie would be a tag character, that they would be kind of like a weird MVC2 assisty kind of thing that you could like V-skill and it would change to another character. So they would be kind of like a stance character, but even more than a stance character. Like really try to find a way to do something really crazy. Like almost make it so that maybe Junie can't do any Junie special moves, that when you do special moves, Julie comes in and does a special move and they switch. And so like, can you imagine if Julie standing fierce buffered into Junie drill, and then you stay as Junie, and then you fight and you buffer into a special move, but it buffers into Julie's special move. And so then you stay as Julie. And so like, it's not even just a stance where you're like, I prefer to stay as old Zeku in this match. It would be like, you literally can't play the character without just constantly switching the character back and forth. I think that would actually be really kind of cool. I think that would be sort of sick. And like I said, more than Nadeshiko even. It would just be one of these things where you cannot play the character without just switching between them constantly. And I think that would actually be really cool. Yeah, like a hyper version of Chang and Choi. But again, the reason why I have this, Saddam is in here for the OCD, put in all the alpha characters. Julie and Junie are in here kind of as part of that same OCD, but at the same time, also to satisfy this ability to do something really interesting and different. Lee, I would like more Street Fighter 1 characters in the game, so if I had to pick one, I would pick Lee because he studied drunken boxing. As soon as I read that in his bio, I was like, oh shit, let's bring him in here. V-skills getting drunk, and you could do all sorts of really kind of cool mechanics with him. And I guess it would be very similar to Hakan oiling up, but there would be different more levels to it, and maybe actually have the fact that you lose some moves once you get too drunk, and maybe it makes it even hard for you to walk. Like the more powerful you get, the harder it is for you to walk, kind of thing. Like your character like stumbles and has like alternate like walking speeds or something. Like if you drink too much and become so powerful, every time you dash, you just fall flat on your face and you're on the ground and you have to get up and deal with a mix-up. So if you drink too much and gain like some super powerful dive kick, you can't even dash anymore. Like I just think that would be a really sick kind of character. Eagle, like I said, just because this is my biased personal pick, because I think Eagle's cool. I've always been a fan of Eagle since Street Fighter 1, and also from a kind of like a socially aware kind of situation of putting an actual open LGBTQ character into the game instead of having ambiguous Zangief and stuff like that, just to have that kind of representation. And then I really do want a Street Fighter 4 representative, and I think Viper would just kind of, I didn't even talk about why I would put in Viper. I just said why I wouldn't put in Abel. I do want the Street Fighter 4 representation in there. I think Viper would be a good one. She would have a lot of really cool you could do a lot of neat things with her, and you know, she would also function for the story as well, closing out the investigation on Sin, closing out the story of what happens after Seth is finally defeated or something like that. And I think that would be kind of interesting. Sean, like I said, story-wise doesn't make sense. He's the honorable mention in this one. He's too young to really be in here, but it would be really cool to have a character that, you know, he's Sean, so you expect him to have like Shoto stuff, but this is before he trained with Ken, so he's missing all the Shoto stuff, but he still has his terrible standing fierce. He had his weird standing heavy kick, and then he also plays mostly with the basketball. Like I said, he would have the pre-Hadou burst where he would like attack you with a basketball, be like, chest pass, chest pass, chest pass, and like he would actually try to hit you with a basketball and stuff like that. The only problem is if they put Sean in the game, they would probably make him suck on purpose, and he would be a joke character, and he would be a waste of a slot, and that would be really kind of annoying. If you made him good and actually able to fight, then it doesn't make sense that he sucks so bad after he trains with Ken, unless that's some sort of allegorical tale about stick with what you know and don't try to learn what works for somebody else or something like that. But, you know, just canonically, it wouldn't make sense to put Sean in the game. But from a character mechanic standpoint, I think it would be really, really cool to have Sean be in the game with this kind of cool basketball style, and like to see him fight pre-Ken training, so he doesn't have any of the Shoto moves. He doesn't have the Shoto sweep. He doesn't have like an uppercut or anything like that. And you know, he even has a power dunk. Like, what if he had the power dunk, but he actually had a basketball in his hand? You know, the Shoryu, the old uppercut where he would go pow and then punch you down, but instead he actually goes up in the air with a basketball and like slams a basketball down on your head, and you can kind of see where the origins of that Shoryu, you know, the Shoryu dunk came from. You know, like he jumps up in the air, does the same motion, but instead of doing an uppercut and then punching down, he just leaps up into the air with the ball in his hand and like maybe switches hands mid-air and then like throws the ball down at you for like a ball spike or something like that. And I think that would be kind of sick, actually. There is no such thing as thinking too hard about the lore, Matsubuya. Praise the lore. Praise the lore. The lore is king. The lore is king. Obey the lore. Oh, man. So that's my list. That's my list of the 5 characters that I would bring back. Sodom, Julie Junie as a tag team, Lee, Eagle, and Sea Viper. This is the... What are you talking about, Burstark? Clearly in Alpha 1, Chun-Li is trying to catch Bison because she's trying to get revenge for Bison killing her father. But in Chun-Li's ending, Bison reveals that he killed her father. So now she's mad. So now she wants to kill Bison for... Huh. Anyways. Oh, man. But, I mean, Sodom is a weird one. Like, I don't know why he's not in already. Like, I feel like there has to be some reason why he's not in already. It just seems so weird that he would not be included, now put into the background of one of the stages. Like, I feel like there's got to be, like, some sort of weird external reason why Sodom can't make it in the game or something like that. I don't know. But I definitely want him in there. He was, yeah, his name is one of them. Right? Maybe they could just bring him out and just name him Katana again. Just name him Katana. Just name him Katana. And just be done with it. Because they changed his name in Final Fight in the American version. He wasn't Sodom. He was Katana in the American version. But, yeah. Oh, that's true. I didn't list Captain Sawada from the movie. So we wouldn't be able to get the super going... Ching, 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 ching. And that's it. Yeah, he is a weeb character as well, which is kind of lame, but it would be interesting if they actually brought him back and like he's actually kind of older and more mature and like not as much of a weeb anymore. Or wouldn't it be funny if like now, because you know, like being a weeb is actually kind of cool, like it actually it would be so awesome. They bring Sodom back, and it turns out now he is a super famous, like, anime voice actor, because now he's done a bunch of dubs for like animes, and he's like super popular at anime cons, and then people learn about his shady past, and so he wants to show his fans that he's still really strong, but like he's now super respected, and like all of his win quotes are like real Japanese, like pure Japanese, like he's actually gone and learned Japanese, like legit. And then, you know, people will ask him, Saddam, how did you learn Japanese? And he'd be like, Duolingo, you know? And it's such a, exactly right, Fly Low Am, that's such a Street Fighter plot. Like, I think that would actually be hilarious. Like, have him have a face arc, basically. He goes from heel to face, and all of a sudden he's like really respected. Like, you know, he'll just like, don't disrespect Japanese culture, you know. Someone will come up to him and be like, don't touch my mustache, and he'll be like, you idiot, it's do itashimashite, you know, like you actually get mad at him. I think that would actually be really, really funny. 400 pages long fanfic. I will not acknowledge nor comment on your remark, Naughty Senpai. None of that will be responded to at all. Mitsa show you. What is that supposed to be? What is that supposed to be? Mitsa shoryu, or what is that? Mitsa show you. Mitsa show you. He can't even say the English part right. Oh, miso. I am getting high off my own fanfic. I think that would be hilarious, though. But there you go. That is my list right there. Saddam, the Julie tag team, Lee, Eagle, Sea Viper, and Sean as the honorable mention there. So that is my list right there. That's who I would like to see come back in Street Fighter V if they are doing 5 new characters, assuming they're all returning. And in a weird way, while I would love to see them put in a brand new character because I like adding more characters to the lore kind of thing, at the same time, because everybody knows this is the final update and this is the last chance for their favorites to get in there, I feel like 5 returning characters would work so long as you do something very interesting with them. So like I said, Lee as a drunken fighter, kind of like how they added Juri to Street Fighter 4 so they could finally have a Taekwondo fighter, even though she's really not particularly Taekwondo, but still, you know, just so they could have a Korean Taekwondo fighter. And all 5 of these characters, I think you could do some really, really, really interesting things in the game. So, brand new character for Street Fighter V. If you look at the list that I have up here, the brand new characters for Street Fighter V are Rashid, Laura, Nakali, and Fang. Those were the 4 original new characters. In Season 2, they decided to only add brand new characters, and so they added Colleen, Manat, Ed, Abigail, and Zeku. In Season 3, they added Falk and G. And then in Season 4, Lucia was the only brand new character there. If you don't count G as Q. So technically I could also just do this because G is Q and Q is G through some weird lore thing. So I don't know, maybe he doesn't count, maybe he does count. I don't know what the hell is going on. But a guest character would be interesting if they actually did just suddenly threw in a guest character out of nowhere. I wouldn't want Terry Bogard because Terry Bogard is everywhere. People have asked me this question a million times, who would I want as a guest character in Street Fighter V? And my answer to that is I would want Street Fighter Cross Tekken's Jin to show up. Like, put Jin back in the game, but he has the weird fireballs that he had that kind of put in place. Like, put Street Fighter Cross Tekken's Jin back into the game. And I think that would be an interesting way to have a guest character, but do it in a way that's referential to themselves still. And I think that would actually be kind of neat. But for the most part, yeah, I'm not necessarily as big on guess Gohan's mom. Shoutouts to Gohan's mom for the subscription. Sigma nuts cat butts to Gohan's mom. I don't have to say the really, really terrible phrase, although everybody apparently is a really big fan of Gohan's mom. Gigi, I guess is her name or something like that, because or Chi-Chi, yeah. There was the one time I was reading off everybody's name and I said, "Look my nuts, Gohan's mom," and everyone's like, James. Man. You know what's interesting? Now that I know Tekken more, it would actually be kind of funny to go back to Street Fighter Cross Tekken and see how the Tekken characters played in comparison and just kind of laugh at how weird and twisted that they made them. So, King Vasuki, in case you missed it, my final tally was to have Saddam, a tag team Julie Junie, Lee, Eagle, and C. Viper, and honorable mentions Sean, because canonically he's too young and it wouldn't make sense, but I just think that there's a lot of fascinating things they could do with that character lore-wise and such. But yeah, there you go. That's my list right there. And yeah, it's just really interesting to see like all the characters coming in and showing up like this. And what's actually funny too is like I'm OCD. I use mnemonics to remember a lot of things, so I actually remember most of like almost the entire cast of Street Fighter through mnemonics. Like I pair characters together, like Ryu and Ken are paired, Retsu and Geki are paired, of course. But even in the Street Fighter 2, for example, Honda and Blanca are always a pair to me. Guile and Chun-Li are always a pair. Zangief and Dhalsim are a pair to me. Cammy and Fei Long are a pair. DJ and T-Hawk are a pair. I remember I tried to pair up all the alpha characters. It's just a way that I've always memorized lists of things, is by pairing people up together. So I think that's actually kind of cool. That's actually true, huh? Li Chaolan would actually be Li, like from Street Fighter 1. Like if you wanted to like somehow like do some weird crazy thing and just make, because Li would be his last name, so maybe Li is actually like, they'll change the lore and make Li Li's father and all this stuff. It would be kind of really interesting. So longevity and availability of the game. Can't have it for download anymore because can't have. Yes, that is absolutely true, Naughty Senpai. That is absolutely true, and a reason why we should not have any guest characters, because then licenses are a pain in the ass. So by bringing that up from Naughty Senpai, I agree. I would actually rather not have any guest characters in the game. Okay, there you go. That's my list over there. I don't really have much else, I guess, to talk about necessarily. I do really want to make sure people are aware of the fact that the Sure You Can scrimmage is going to be starting up this weekend on twitch.tv/UltraChenTV. Registration for that will begin probably on the day of the event, because I'm going to cap it at 16. So I want to make sure that the people who enter are people who know they can make it to the tournament, so they don't take up somebody's spot and somebody just gets DQ'd and wastes one of the 16 slots. But just to keep in mind, the Sure You Can scrimmage Street Fighter V beginner tournament will start this Sunday, and try to be something like that we're going to keep trying to do hopefully every week, maybe every other week, just so we don't kill ourselves. But that will be Sunday. We'll probably start 3 p.m. Pacific time, so that would be 6 p.m. Eastern time. Currently restricted to residents of the United States and Canada only. And only gold rank and lower can enter the tournament. And blah 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 blah. I mean, obviously we can't enforce it, but wired connections, please. And that's the idea. So we're going to set up and then whoever wins the tournament gets to pick either myself or David to play against. And after we play him, the other person commentates and watches. And then afterwards, they can give advice. And the person who played it can also give advice as well. But that way, you'll get advice from somebody who played against you, and you'll get advice from someone who's also observing as well. So first place prize will be the opportunity to play one of us. So. I mean, we will expand to other games if the interest gets there. I would love to go to an MK11, Killer Instinct, Them's Fighting Herds, games with really good netcode, and to be able to run this. But we're doing Street Fighter V in the beginning since it's obviously the game we know the best, and also probably still one of the more highly played games. And yes, not the greatest netcode, but still better than the majority of the netcode out there, unfortunately. So there you go. What about stages? Is there any stage you want to be added to the game? Something cool that doesn't have to be banned. Please no beach tides that cover feet. Please no airplanes that make people airsick. Just please give us some cool stages. That's about it.